What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to make a video about things that Arizona locals don't like. And if you're coming from out of state, this is why you're probably curious about this, because we got a couple comments on our California video where people were like, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Arizona from Pennsylvania. I'm thinking about coming there from Idaho, from Washington. How do I stay, on the good graces of Arizona natives? So this is kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, kind of like it's playful, it's a little bit serious, but more than anything, it's just kind of like a guidebook for giving you guys information about how to stay out of hazardous way of the locals. Basically, how to play it safe with the locals, right? How to stay in the good graces. Thank you to everyone who's already smashing up the likes as we get this video out there. Good morning, Larry from Oregon. Yeah, so this is a fun video, but it's got some useful information. So let's go ahead and get into it. Also, if you're an Arizona local, definitely drop a comment and say what really irritates you about tourists or visitors or people who are just now moving in. But we got a pretty good list here. It's pretty strong. So the very first thing that people complain about, and I see this on the channel a lot. They even get on me about this. I'm not perfect. I make these mistakes, but mispronouncing the words. The one that it seems like people really have a hard time with, there's two basically that are irritating to people, but there's a third one that's kind of easy. So the first one is Tucson, but people, they come here and they call it Tucson. It's not Tucson, it's Tucson. Another one that's always up for debate is Prescott or Prescott, but it is Prescott. Most of the locals in Prescott will tell you, call it Prescott. Everyone's like, why do they call it Prescott? Why don't they call it Prescott? And, it's just like a big mystery, but it goes all the way back into the pioneer times, back when it was capital of Arizona and all that. Another one is Casa Grande. I mean, people get all worked up about this one as well. I've called it both. I still just call it Casa Grande, but people call it Casa Grande. I mean, there's a couple others around the state that you can mess up, like Tubac. I mean, there's just a couple, but this is something that for some reason locals really get big on. They just come down on this. Okay, don't take it personal. Just kind of go with it and try to figure out how to pronounce things. The next thing is driving. This is a number one complaint I see also. I mean, it's one of the number one complaints I see on the channel. I mean, obviously I have an Arizona channel. I read the comments, and we have more Arizona locals who watch this channel than we have out of towners or out of staters. The one is the driving. So when you're in the left lane on the freeway, that's the fast lane. That means you need to be going a little bit faster than, the flow of traffic. Obviously, you don't want to be breaking any rules or anything, even though most of the people on those freeways on the US 60, the I-17, I-10, they're already breaking the rules. But, if you're slow traffic, you're slow traffic, you might even be going under the speed limit, you need to be on the right side. And Arizona has got a lot of freeways. I mean, we don't have much else other than freeways. We don't have trains that take you long distance. So everyone's driving on the roads, and you get around those big trucks, people drive those big Chevys, those big lifted Fords. Those guys have no patience, and they think they run the road. I mean, it is what it is. Another thing that really kind of irritates people is going out in nature during when it's hot. Okay. So when it's hot in the July, they go out, they go hiking at 12 o'clock. And then the next thing you know, someone Aerovac's got to come into Camelback Mountain, Pietzwa Peak, Superstition Mountains, wherever you're hiking, and then come pick you up and Aerovac you out of there because you almost passed out. So hiking at noon in July, not a good idea. But it's not just hiking in July. Another thing that out-of-towners do that, I hate to use the word hate, but, just for the sake of sensationalism, we'll use that word. When it's monsoon, okay, this is another thing. When the floods come, when the flash floods are coming through the washes, through the creeks, don't try and cross those creeks. Wait for the water to recede, because the next thing you know, you're going down the flash flood, and everyone's got to come and try and save you. And, another situation where the Aerovac and then tax dollars are wasted, and you'll see the hate constantly. I mean, it's coming from the locals about this. So, but it's also dangerous. Both of those things are very dangerous. So most of it is just a frustration where they're trying to protect you, really. Okay. So the next thing is leaving trash behind. So if you go camping, if you go hiking, always clean up after yourselves. This should go without saying. I mean, we're all adults. We know better than that. Thank you to everyone smashing up the likes, by the way. We've got lots of likes and lots of engagement coming in. So I know it's early over there in Arizona, but I see you all. Albert says Prescott. Yeah, we talked about that on the early side of things. But always pick up after yourself. I mean, I've been out in so many different trails, so many different campsites, and people just leave. Like they think that because they put all their trash in a bag, that the forest ranger is going to come along and pick it up. But what ends up happening is a bear, a coyote, a mountain lion, bobcat, who knows what kind of wildlife, maybe a raccoon, will go to that trash, and then they'll just rip it apart, and then it just spreads everywhere. So if you're going to go camping, you need to actually take your Ziploc bag or whatever bag you brought, your trash bag with you out, okay? And that one actually I hate. I have no problem admitting that one. Okay, I definitely hate when people leave trash behind like that. I mean, I can't tell you how many campsites I went to, how many rivers I went to where people left that stuff behind. And obviously the beer bottles and the beer cans. I mean, I get it. Kids do that stuff. Most of the time, it's not you adults, right? I mean, I'm just saying, but it really is one of those things that locals hate. Now, here's something that is kind of like a prejudgment that people have when they're coming from out of town. They're like, they think that Arizona is a desert. I mean, this is no reason to hate someone for it, but it's something that irritates people because Arizona, as you know, has a lot of high country. I mean, we've talked about this on the channel, how much high country we have. You can't just say northern Arizona because that's not what it is. It's high country. So you have Safford, where you have Mount Graham, you have Kitt Peak, then you have Mount Lemmon, you have Humphreys Peak, San Francisco Peak, you have the Bradshaws, you have so many different mountains. You have Kaibab, all these mountains we just got a lot of mountains. I mean, you go up into the Salt River Canyon, it's like all in between mountains. The Grand Canyon is basically carved through some high country. I mean, Kaibab is up there. I think it's higher than Flagstaff. Okay. So, I mean, we got a lot of desert, and on that desert, we got pines. I want to say ponderosa pines, but I don't know. I mean, also we have chaparral, you get juniper trees up there. But yeah, we have a lot more than just desert. And it's okay if you thought that we had desert, but we're here to tell you we got a lot more than just desert. We got mountains and forests. Okay. Now, another thing that really irritates people is when you come to Arizona, and this is not so much the case as much anymore, but about 4 or 5 years ago, people used to come to Arizona and brag about how cheap it is compared to LA or compared to New York or wherever they were coming from. And then, everyone's like, hey, I like my house price being around $250,000 for a 2 or 3 bedroom. Well, nowadays, because people came from out of town and, started bragging about that, what happened to the prices? They started going up because builders got the idea that, hey, things are undervalued. And then now it's overvalued, right? So that's kind of something that we've had happen here recently. The next thing that we're going to talk about, and this one is something that I would say most people probably hate, okay, is when you ignore a fire ban during dry season. And the reason is because Arizona is very prone to wildfires. We get a lot of wildfires, and we just had one up in Greer here recently, but the Rodeo Chedesky fire. I mean, you could go on and on. I remember there's a big one up in Payson, on the way to Payson along the was it the Beeline? You guys, the fire thing is there for a reason. I know you want to go camping and you want to have a fire, but the fire danger is serious. You don't want to be someone who starts a big wildfire. You've seen what's happened in LA and all those other places. Now, here's another thing that can irritate locals just because it's a matter of drought, wasting water. So if you go to someone's house and you see that they got a big lush lawn in the summertime, people are going to be like, why do you have a big lawn like that? Because when you have a lawn, what do you have to do? You have to soak it. You have to basically create a layer of water and then let the water just saturate into the soil. And, when you do that, people are going to be like, hey, you're wasting water. We've already got a drought here in Arizona. People who take long showers, sometimes they take 20 to 30-minute showers. I mean, or they just have no respect for water. In Arizona, we are a desert, yes, in some places. I know we just got done ranting about how it's not all desert, but we do have scarcity of water, and you should not be wasting water, whether it be in your backyard. I'm not saying don't water your plants. I'm just saying, like, try not to have a situation going on where you're actually wasting water. Okay. So try to set it up. Like, I know when I had my garden, I had to have bougainvilleas and oleanders. So I had a pretty green backyard, but most of my plants were plants that were like drought tolerant. Okay. Like a Chinese elm, you don't have to water it very much. Mesquite trees, like local plants, also cactuses, you don't necessarily have to water them, and they're green, palo verdes, mesquite trees, ironwoods. The next thing that I don't think this is a big thing, but this is something that some people will complain about. I know for me, I like wildlife. And, if a coyote comes into my backyard and wants to drink out of my, you know, bird feeder, I'm cool with it. Same with javelinas. But feeding wildlife can be a little bit of a problem for some locals. I've seen some people complain about that. For me, I definitely don't hate it. I like wildlife. I mean, I would like to live in areas where there is wildlife. I know where the wildlife is in Arizona. If you wanted to like build a house and have coyotes and javelinas and maybe bobcats and mountain lions come into your backyard, or maybe even a rattler or some sort of snakes. I mean, I'm not a big fan of snakes, but there are some areas in particular around the Catalina Mountains. You'll see a lot of people get like visits by coyotes and bobcats and sometimes mountain lions out there in the Catalinas, sometimes in the Superstitions, sometimes up there in North Cave Creek. I mean, we've seen them, we've seen it out there. But yeah, that's a big thing. Another thing that irritates people is the lack of respect for Native American lands, especially if you're someone who's been in Arizona for a long time. At some point in time, more than likely, that local has come across Native Americans and had a great reverence for them and appreciation just based on the conversation they've had, whether it be stopping at some place and buying some turquoise or buying some silver, buying some jewelry, and then learning something from people, and then basically, you know, respecting because of what they learned. And so people come out here and they just basically have no respect for the indigenous or the native people. When, Arizona native is someone who's born there, but the native people of the land, meaning that these are people who've been there before the Europeans showed up and all these other, people from outside that are not the people of the land. In Hawaii, they would call them the Kamaaina, but out in Arizona, they're the Navajo, the Hopi, and the Anasazi. But you get the idea. Now, another thing that kind of irritates people is people who, if you're going to Oak Creek Canyon, say, or some of the tourist places, these people, they just block the scenic spot for a 15-minute photo shoot. Like, we get it. You want to get your pictures, but, when you're getting your pictures, try to be respectful of other people. Keep the traffic flowing. Don't just lock up the traffic. I mean, this is something that people do. And, it's a way to irritate. You're going to get the horns honked on you. And, it's just, it's a bit frustrating, right? So anyway, let's see what everyone's saying. I've got 15 people smashing up, or 26 people who smashed up the likes. Wow, we got a lot going on here. So some people said flood irrigation. Yeah. Chris says, what irritates me is MAGA's all okay, always complaining about liberals. Oh, that was something we didn't talk about. Okay, so you could throw that in there. I mean, the one thing I know, it's the 10,000-pound elephant in the room. It's politics. I mean, this channel, every single chat gets just absolutely railroaded with politics. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest. I mean, I know I said there was other things that were big, but the politics thing, I mean, whether it's over here or over here, you got the left, you got the right. You all hate each other. I mean, I get it. It's like, I don't know what Americans would do without the two-party system. I mean, they might have to get along if we didn't have a two-party system, wouldn't they? So it said, Dangerfield Trucking, love the channel, Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, like I said, I mean, in this video, it was a lighthearted, fun kind of video, but it was also educational. So hopefully no one's like sitting there going, oh, you guys are just trying to pick on us out of towners, because people come on here and they're like, man, I used to love this channel until you started hating on Californians. I'm like, dude, come on, man. It's not that serious. Like, people in Arizona really don't get too riled up about things. I mean, if you think they do, let's see. Oh, we got some light. I didn't even realize that we got some good lighting in here. Nice. Anyways, Someone said, not respecting the wildlife, trying to get dangerously close to javelina again while trespassing. I know that I've been up in creeks and washes, and there'll be like 6 or 7 peccari or whatever they call them, or javelinas. And, you'll see like little babies, the little cute little babies. Don't get too close because those things are feisty. They're wild pigs, man. You ever been around wild pigs? It's cool. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this and smash up the likes, and we will see you on the next one.